Chip, I see your mouth moving, but I'm pretty sure you're muted, man.
Welcome back to another week here at Heroes and Hooligans, where we are playing Gilded Destinies episode 15, and I am once again muted at the start of our show. Last week, our party had just left the Cornerstone Tower, making their way back home, where they took a long night's rest, shortly after realizing their dear friend Jolly had departed for places further south on the continent. To handle some personal business of his that had to do with his pension being lost. They rested up, had a lovely little morning where some members of our party discovered things about the area around them, and some of them might have found a little bit about themselves. As we continue, our party plans on heading off today to head to the Rockboroughs and see what they can find out there. Let's go ahead and get started. So it is about noon today. You've made it into town with your trip. Some of you have gone to the post office and received some very unclear instructions, whereas others of you have gone shopping and bought some very enlightening books. And you are, Kokola, you're sitting at the pub. The rest of you are leaving the bookstore. What would the three of you like to do?
Were we supposed to meet up before leaving town or at the edge of town?
I don't believe it was discussed, actually.
I mean, I guess we can sort of make our way toward the post office. Like, we know that's where Coca-Cola was going, right?
Yeah, everyone just give me perception checks on your way over there.
Chip, why they do
Reznor,
that? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So I received a few things and I did not add them to my inventory because I was not sure if they were just a standard cloak and dagger or if
they're
they
all just. As of now, you all that you're aware of is that they're a cloak and dagger with that insignia and stylization.
Okay. That's all I wanted.
And you've seen some higher ranking members carrying obviously magical versions of these before, but you have seen people with unenchanted ones as well.
Okay. That's perfect.
I'll even say make me a DC 15 history check.
You see
advantage.
All right. That might be more helpful. $15.
15? All right. You just hit it. As you look at this dagger before you stow it away, actually, there's a little flash of memory in the back of your mind of the first time you saw one of these. You were very young, and it was before you'd even met Jillian, before your houses had seen fit to introduce you. And someone broke into your house in the middle of the night, thinking that if they could get past the wards, which they somehow managed, that's all the dwarves were good for, right? And you heard the noise of them moving about, came out, they pulled a blade on you, just a regular short sword, and were advancing towards you when a spike pierced through their throat. And behind them you saw your mother flick her wrist, and a dagger reform in her hand from about 15 feet away.
Yeah, she would be a Psyblade rogue, wouldn't she? Perfect.
The spike did, to be clear, the what you saw was your mother flicked the dagger, and it lengthened 15 feet to pierce through their throat. Like to a,
She had a
it took the material. It took the material of the dagger, and instead of being a dagger, stretched it out so it was a centimeter long spike or wide spike.
She had a fancy one. Okay, then. I just wasn't sure. I wanted to add them to my inventory, but I wanted to make sure that it was. Okay.
Yeah, just mark them as Goradine cloak and Goradine dagger.
Yep, that's what I did. Would it be acceptable if the cloak was a cloak of billowing? Just for LOLs.
It would not yet.
Boo.
Let me ask you this, Coca-Cola. Is Coca-Cola putting the cloak in her inventory, or is she putting it on?
I probably would wear it, actually.
Okay. I'm going to say you can attune to the cloak then, actually, over your time sitting here at the pub. We'll count that as a short rest.
Okay.
And you realize that it is a cloak of protection
Oh,
and a cloak of immunity to poison.
okay. So I'll just add. I think there's a way I can add that.
+1 to AC, +1 to all your saves, immunity to poison.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Sorry to be in the way.
Oh, you're good. I'm happy to run your scene. A little more there. On your perception checks, Zenlin and Jillian, you spot her immediately. Or no, Zen's yours is made with disadvantage, not advantage, correct?
Correct. So it's 14.
Jillian, you know your best friend. You know where she's going to be after going to the post office. She's drinking. There's no way she's anywhere else.
Definitely. She's day drinking.
That sounds healthy.
Cheers. You got an important meeting to get to. She's got to have a few in her.
Got a pregame for the late night drinking.
Don't want to go get in the shakes. But yeah, you have a strong sense that Coca-Cola's at the pub. You look over that way and you see her sitting out on the patio. And it looks like she's got a couple packages in front of her.
Oh, did you get some prezzies from your family?
I'm going to say Coca-Cola. I will say Coca-Cola. I'm going to say have enough time that if you think you would have cleaned up your packages after you opened them, between Jillian seeing you from outside and the time they get inside, get moved out to the patio, you've got time to clean that up, kind of.
I think I would leave like the packaging would be okay, like to have the cloak and dagger, because I could just say that came from my mom, but I would make sure that the missives and important letters that are not for other folks' eyes would be put up.
You would know standard operation with Goradine letters, eat them.
Yeah.
Fiber.
I would do the one that's edible, and the other one I would toss off into the fire, especially the one that's get rid of your unsavory friend. I don't want my friends to read that because I don't know which one they consider unsavory yet.
Yeah, it's nice. The one that said your unsavory friend was your official Goradine letter, as well as the one from the leader of the house.
It's like Wonka paper. It's edible,
It is sugar paper. You put it in your mouth and it immediately starts to dissolve.
What is it? The body and the blood or whatever.
Closer to those edible wrappers they put on cupcakes.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just being
but yes. But yeah, it melts in your
Just
mouth.
drinking cranberry juice instead of mead.
Yeah, cranberry juice, but you had them bring it to you in a wine glass.
Mhm.
Gotcha. So you guys rock up to the table and you see Coca-Cola sitting there, a couple of open empty boxes thrown across the table, and a little glass of red liquid in her hand.
Yes, prezzies from my mother, Jillian.
Never mind.
What? I just thought this new cloak made me look fancy, like that story of that vampire man I read growing up. What was
I
his name?
thought you and your mother weren't exactly on speaking terms, but
No, it wasn't that we weren't on speaking terms. It's that she wanted me to get out on my own and become a grown-up dwarf instead of a young dwarf hog. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if she's sending you
Make-
presents, apparently everyone else
make-
said no.
You know what, Coca-Cola? I'm gonna say, with this new bit of interaction with your mother coming to light, I'm gonna need you to remake that deception check about your relationship with her. Anyone who wants to can make an insight.
Oh, it did roll. Okay. Well, I'm not super deceptive right now.
I was gonna say, I mean, Zenwin's just poking fun, but if he can, he'll use his passive of 11.
I only rolled
Sure.
an 8 because I didn't roll. It's like not an advantage or anything. So deception is not one of the skills I picked for proficiency. I have persuasion rather than.
It happens.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna say passive. Coca-Cola's got a complicated relationship with her mom.
Yeah, Zenwin was never that interested. He was just poking fun.
Jillian, you beat it by more than 5, and Coca-Cola's your best friend. There's something here that she's not telling you guys. You don't know what it is, but you know there's something that she's hiding about the gifts that she got from her mother. You don't think it's that they're from her mother. Like, you don't think they're from someone else, but she shouldn't shown them off to you in the way Coca-Cola normally would. Like, oh, my mom got me this. It's from the capital city, and it's a jade figurine, and look, it's the only way she shows me love. There's not that emotion here.
I'm going to give you a mind your own business look.
Yeah, Jillian wouldn't call you out or anything. She would just.
Yeah, I know
Not
she will
say
wait
File it
until
away.
until later when they're off by themselves, and then she'll say, "Spill the beans."
And
Dick.
Reznor, are you trying to pick up on this at all, or are you just you're just
I-
there for the ride?
Yeah, but I say Resnor's still a little distracted from the morning. I mean, he's got a 12 passive insight, but he's not really.
I mean, you're in the pub. Do you think Reznor might go for a drink?
Yeah.
I think Reznor. I think when all this is going down, Reznor might be grabbing a drink. So Reznor, you walk up to the front of the bar and you see Coca-Cola's cousin there, whose name I don't believe you've gotten yet.
Nope. I'm gonna pat him on the back and say, "Hello, friend."
Her.
Her. Hello, friend.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just getting a drink. Been walking around. How are you?
I'm excited for it to be my last day here and a little sad to see it go. I've met a lot of friends here, but it'll be nice to be doing something a little more with my time.
I understand. He's gonna grab the drink and he's gonna pass the drink to her slowly, and he's gonna drink.
Oh, she takes it. And she... are you sitting down or are you just standing at the bar?
Resnor's standing.
Okay. She actually clambers up onto a bar stool next to you, because sitting on the bar stool gives her an extra foot of height, so she's up to about your shoulder now. So, little earlier in the day than I've usually seen you in here. Something bringing you in?
No, Zillan wanted to go buy some books about stuff. Books aren't my thing, so I let him deal with that. And Nicola was here, so we came here.
I understand, yes. Well, not a surprise seeing Coca-Cola here, really. She's one of us.
Yeah. I like how much you guys all drink.
I like how much you drink too. And she, at this point, you finished your first round. I'm assuming you're just getting ale.
Yeah.
She orders you guys another round of ale. So, I hear that you were instrumental in in convincing the manager to give me my new position. I have to give you my gratitude.
Nice. It's not really me. I don't do a lot of the talking. It's more Zinlin and Coca-Cola.
Oh, well, he mentioned Coca-Cola, but your name was the one most on his lips.
Yeah. I haven't talked to him as much as I've liked to, but I'm glad to help whenever I can.
Yeah, well, I'm actually meeting him for a drink tonight if you'd like to come along. We're discussing sort of the layout of what my new position would be, and it'd be nice to have some support.
I'll see if we're around. We're gonna visit some people. They're
I do want to be clear. I heard you said you'll see if we're around. I understand you travel with your group. I'm inviting you.
Oh. Well, I appreciate it, but I can't leave my friends for very long. There's been a lot of dangers lately.
1 hour. Just please back me up for 1 hour.
I'll do what I can to help. If I'm in the area, I'll be there.
All right, we'll be at the pub at the meadery, the little meat hall.
All right, I'll see you there. Reznor will pick his drink up and I'll walk off.
All right. You see, as you
it's the golden retriever mentality.
As you pick your drink up and walk back out to your party, you see that you're coming in right after this little interaction where Jillian just kind of looked at Coca-Cola and gave her a little side eye. And Coca-Cola gave her the shut your fucking mouth look.
Reznor will walk up and, where do you think we'll be later tonight?
Well, after we get back into town, Killy, I think, is wanting us to. Oh no, Philly is wanting us to come by the meadery and have some drinks. I mean, I think that was the plan.
Oh.
Yeah, he did invite you specifically, Coca-Cola. He did not say only you.
Yeah.
Your cousin invited me to have drinks with her and the manager later tonight. Are we gonna be around tonight?
If you need to have some alone time for a little tete-a-tete, I am more power to you. I'm generally more hedonistic in my views than the rest of my clan.
She said me. I don't know what that means, but
I think you know what that means.
Yeah, I think the manager's also shifty too. I don't know if I had one.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I mean, you are a little scary, man. If we weren't friends, I might be intimidated.
Little
You know what I
shifty.
mean? Go for it. I think if we're back in town, I wouldn't see why you couldn't.
Yeah, I'll make sure nothing happens.
And weren't you wanting to speak to him anyways because he's
Little shifty.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm trying to see if I can find his name. I think I wrote it down.
Oh, the manager.
Greer.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have some questions for him.
Yeah.
All right.
you.
So you have this little talk here in the pub. Anything you guys want to discuss in particular? Or are you just wrapping up and getting ready to head over to the Rockboroughs?
I mean, anything we need to discuss, we could probably discuss on the way. No.
Yeah, I think we can go if Resno's got a date tonight. We probably shouldn't wait too long.
So you make your way through the back off the patio, through the bar, through the ale house. As you walk by, you see Reznor, that Kakula's cousin, again unnamed, runs up to you and says, "Oh, and by the way, we're meeting at about 8, and we'll probably be there till 9 or 10. But I really only need you until 9."
Okay. And then I'll give her a thumbs up and smile.
It's still not asking her name.
No, Rosar's not good with names.
Fair enough. And you make your way off through town, and get some. I'll say you stop on the street, get directions to the Rockboroughs. You're told it's about a 2-hour walk east around the mountain, or west around the mountain, and it is through the woods. It is not. There's not a very easily accessible path. They have left the civilized bounds of the town and its property.
Over the river and through the woods to the Rockborough house we go. Is there like in town? Is there like a stable or a place where we can rent horses or something along the lines?
There is a stable where you could rent like horses or ponies or the like.
You want to stop by there? Maybe we could rent a little cart or something. Ride, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely could. So you make your way down to the stable. It is just in the southwest corner of town here. If you're looking at the map, you can see it. We won't need our VTT for much today, so no worries if you're not.
Okay.
But you make your way down there, and you see there is a elderly half-elf tending the stable.
Yeah, I'll like.
Need to buy.
Yep.
You got any horses you need to stable? Or are you looking to rent?
We were just looking to see how much it would
Qualified
cost
user.
us to rent a couple for the day.
Enough for the 4 of you?
If we could.
All right. Well, I've got a couple of donkeys and a wagon you could rent that would fit the 4 of you. That would probably be close to about 5 silver.
Oh, that's not
no,
bad.
wait, 2 donkeys. Let's call it a gold. You could rent them for, I'd say that'd probably rent them to you for a week. And that's the lowest I'll go. You could do the same for a horse with a wagon for, let's call it 2 gold. And if you wanted a riding horse for each of you, no wagon, or a pony in a couple of cases, maybe even a mule for one of you. Total gold and a half, gold and 5 silver, yeah.
Well, we could go with the little donkeys and cart. I think that'd be sufficient. What do you think, guys?
All right, donkeys in a cart.
We can. How
anyone-
intense is the forest?
Anyone with proficiency, go ahead and make me a survival check, and Zenlin as well for asking that question.
4.
17 for Reznor.
Reznor, you immediately, Zenlin says that out loud, you look over at the woods. They are far too dense for a cart to traverse easily. If you got individual riding horses, you probably could. Their speed would also be affected by the travel, the same as yours. So it'd be faster still, but it wouldn't be as fast as horses would be on open plains.
Right.
I'll relay that to everybody.
And there is the danger of, if the horses aren't ridden well, one of them breaking an ankle or something like that on mountainous forested terrain.
Okay.
If you say those things to us, Reznor, then I'll completely say that we probably just shouldn't, because I don't want to be liable for having to replace somebody's horse if it gets dead.
Yeah, Reznor will relay all that.
To give it to you mechanically, each rider would need to make. We would either need to have each rider individually make a DC 10 animal handling check, or we could do a group check where you would need to hit a threshold of 40. And if you fail, depending on how much you fail by, more than one horse could have an issue. If you pass, everyone's fine.
Yeah, I think let's just pass on this time. It was worth a look. At least we know for the future.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess we head out walking that way then.
We hoof it.
All right. Just someone give me a survival check to make your way through the woods.
Not it.
I'll offer assistance to Reznor if he's going to be the one to make it.
I was gonna ask a quick question. Just because
I think you have the highest bonus.
I also have Outlander, so I have recall general layout of terrain.
The Wanderer feature, right? Yeah, you have the Wanderer feature, right? Yeah, you're able to. Well, that's recall. Let me pull that up and take a look at it. Or are you able to send that through to the chat?
Yeah, let me copy it real quick. All right, here it comes.
Okay, I'm gonna say general layout. I would give you advantage on this. I would give you advantage on this check for this, but since you have not traveled to the Rockboroughs before, you won't be able to just bypass the check.
Okay.
Anytime you travel there from here on out, you'll be able to bypass it.
Okay, I can make this survival check.
While Reznor rolls that, for those of you watching, Wanderer gives Reznor an excellent memory for maps and geography and lets him recall terrain, settlements, and other features around him, and feed his party every day, as long as the land has food to offer. Reznor, what's that survival check?
Nat 20 for a 25.
Nat 20 for a 25. On a natural 20, I'm going to give you a couple things. First off, you're able to half your group's travel time to the Rockboroughs, bringing it down to 1 hour through the forest. You find old animal trails, some deer trails, and all of that. And you also find recent evidence of a shifter hunting in this area, as though they had just recently moved over here within the past week. Seems like they've shifted where they hunted at. And you recognize some of the markings. as identical to those left in your new territory. If you want to use your character's wisdom to try to puzzle this through, you can give me a wisdom check. If you want to just use your own as a player, that's cool too. And that applies to most situations for all of you, just to let you know.
You said wisdom check?
Yep.
I'd go for that. 18.
18, nice. Putting all these little independent clues and pieces together, you gather that there was a shifter hunting in the area around, basically the east side of Revan, for a extended period of time. You're not sure how long, but long enough that the animals there had learned their patterns, and there was like a symbiosis of them only feeding so much and so on and so forth. Your arrival has frightened them to the point where they have shifted their territory all the miles away to the far, far west side of Revan. And they have given you marks of deference and acknowledgement in your territory. You're the stronger wolf, and they're not going to fuck with you, and they're taking steps to avoid fucking with you in any way that you haven't even asked for, is the attitude you get.
Gotcha.
You also see that whoever this shifter is, they seem to be mindful of like the way they feed. They're not hunting too much. They're not hunting mothers bearing young. It seems to be mostly old animals that they're taking down, things that are a burden on the local ecology. It's not ecology, that's the study of I don't know. I forgot the word. Ecosystem. Thank you, Zen.
Interestinger and interestinger.
Mm-hmm. But you make it to the Rockboroughs, and as you approach, you see that there is as you approach the location you've been sent to, you see there is a large hill covered in grass, with a little rooster weather vane poking off the top of it, spinning in the wind, and a little chimney on the other side. You don't see anybody out and about around here.
Do we approach?
Yeah, maybe let's approach the door and just knock.
Does it seem like we're at like the front entrance of this place?
Are we at the Rockboroughs now?
Yeah, you're at the Rockboroughs. There is and it does not seem like you're at the front entrance necessarily. You're not sure from the side you're at that you see an entrance. It could be just around the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
I mean, if there ever was a time for thaumaturgy to announce our presence so we don't get whacked by any dwarven magical booby traps, now would be the time.
No-ish.
Right. I could cast thaumaturgy to say, "Hello, we come in peace."
Take me to your leader.
Yeah. Live long and prosper, friends.
Jillian, you cast thaumaturgy, and as you speak, the booming voice of this little halfling rings out, "Hello! We come in peace!" And about 30 seconds to a minute later, you see 5 little pairs of eyes peek over the top of the hill, like right over the zenith, like someone's laying down and looking over it. And you hear a squeaky little voice. And you can leave in peace too! And then from behind that, you hear, "Be nice to the visitors, Jeremy." And you see a adult gnomish woman walk up the hill, grab one of her kids by the scruff of his neck, essentially by the back of his shirt and the scruff of his neck, lift him up. "What have I told you about scaring off visitors? We're gonna get a bad reputation if you keep doing this." And set her kid back down. "Hi, welcome to the Rockboroughs. Here for business or a visit?"
Yes.
All right. And which of us are you visiting?
Well, all of you, I suppose.
Well, I don't know you, so you're not here to visit me.
Well, my name is Coca-Cola Iron Gut, and these are my friends. And we actually came to speak to you about contracting your family for some work.
Oh, so business it is then. And she claps twice, and you see a previously unseen door swings out of the grassy green of the hill and opens up. The door appears to be made of the grass and stone of the hill.
It's a hobbit hole.
It is, essentially. It's a little gnomish burrow.
I'm not scared.
And you are invited, all of you, to scramble down into the Rockborough's burrow.
I like
Reznor,
it.
you might be having to duck quite a bit.
You say that, and actually, as you walk up to the hill, you see everything here is sized for someone much larger than Reznor, honestly. All the ceilings and halls are about 10 to 12 feet high at least. Some of them even go up to about 20 in some of the grander rooms. But the main ceilings and halls are about 12 feet high.
Huh. So Tom Bombadil, not the hobbits. Got it. All right.
And as you move through the halls of this burrow, you're being led by the woman you met outside, who introduces herself. Jacinda Rockborough, pleasure to meet you. That's
Jacinda,
Jacinda for our note takers. Rockborough spelled rock as in rock, borough as in New York.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Jacinda.
Yes, it's a pleasure. If you just follow me, I'll lead you down to, where they take care of the business and such. I'm more of a stay-at-home mother myself, and it's a business all its own. Let me tell you, I'd rather be wrangling workers than wrangling these 5. And you see she's got her 5 little kids trailing behind her like recently scolded ducklings.
Kind of like my dad, because that's what my dad does. My dad's a stay-at-home mom too.
Oh, wonderful. And it's Oh, come now. I have to. I knew your father when we were young. Why can't I remember his name for the life of me?
Probably because he's gone by dad for so long.
Oh, Dad was your father. And yeah, your dad's high school nickname. Your father's high school nickname was Dad.
Yeah.
Do you remember Fairly Odd Parents when we find out that Dad's name has been Dad since he's 6 years old?
Yeah, pretty much.
Same vibe.
Pretty much. Yep, Dad is my dad.
Oh, wonderful. How is he? It's been years. Almost 40? 50?
Close, yeah. Close. He hasn't been.
Oh,
He hasn't come to town
just
in a
since
long
I've
time.
spoken to him.
He hasn't come
I
along.
wouldn't either after the lashing your grandmother gave him.
Well, you know, he probably did something to upset her. You know how kids are with their mothers.
You know, running off with a kundarak will do that for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so what's the business person's name? I'm just gonna turn away at the Kundarak comment because
No, it's nothing about your family, dear. It's nothing about your family. I have no problem with the kundaraks myself. Now, your grandmother. Well, I'm sure you're aware.
yeah, her and my
Go ahead
mom
and give
never
me
really did get along.
Go ahead and give me a history check. Or actually, what do you think? What stat do you think is associated with Coca-Cola thinking about her family and remembering things about them? I keep having you roll history, but what feels right for you?
I mean, that seems about right. It's a recalling of my.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just give me a history check. Advantage again. If it's pertaining to your family, advantage unless I say otherwise.
Yeah, I figured as much. Plus, I have advantage with dwarves, anyways. Dwarf shit, but I didn't roll
yeah.
very good. I only got a 10.
Okay. On a 10, you can't remember ever actually. Like your grandmother didn't like your mom. She was always cordial, and she never had a bad word to say about your family. At least not around you. And
Yeah,
she
not a.
said plenty of bad. And she said plenty of bad words around you. If your grandmother didn't like something, she let you know.
Yeah,
Especially that
I
dress you wore when you
assume-
were. Especially that dress you wore when you were 17.
I can assume that they probably didn't get along as much, but I mean, mothers and mother-in-laws, it goes sometimes.
Okay. All right. But yeah, she finishes leading you through the borough and says, "Well, here we are. They should be right in the cigar lounge there."
Fancy. Yeah, I'll go along with my friends to where she points out.
There's a closed wooden door. Was clearly brought in here instead of carved out like most of the other doors were. It's got a little one of those sliding peepholes, and a fine bronze doorknob with a little emblem of a. It's like carved in the shape of a dragon.
I'll knock politely.
You knock. The peephole opens up. You notice it's actually for you and Jillian, it's at a reasonable height. A little short for you. For Reznor, this peephole is at like your waist. Like you know what they'd be seeing. You know what they'd be seeing if you were the one who knocked.
You did call it a peephole, so
But you do see a pair of little beady eyes pop up in the viewing portal.
as long as you don't call it a glory hole, Chip, we'll be good.
No. That's next episode. It's this.
Oh, Jesus, Jenny.
It's a fighting arena. You go into the hole to win glory. See it? Yeah. There is an attached brothel, but that has nothing to do with the name.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Yeah. You knock and the peephole slides open, and there's a pair of eyes there.
Hear
Hello?
about business, friend.
People slides. You hear about 30 locks being unlocked. Some are chains, some are deadbolts. Sounds like there's 3 locks on handles, like the kind that stop from handle from turning, despite there only being 1 handle on this side. And the door opens, and you are just hit with a cloud of noxious cigar smoke hovering in the air. Everyone will be making perception checks with disadvantage in this room. If you fail the perception check, which is a DC 10 that I need you to make now, you're going to make insight checks with disadvantage as well, since you won't be able to clearly see the people in front of you.
Zenlin gets a 10 while he's coughing.
Is that with disadvantage?
It is not. I didn't know we were in bright light.
You're not. Everyone is making this at disadvantage from the cloud of smoke.
Oh, yes.
Reznor got a nat one. Reznor's higher up, and the smoke rises. So
At disadvantage, I've got a 15.
All right, cool. Who didn't beat a 10 at disadvantage?
Reznor.
Reznor and Zen. Zenlin, did you pass at disadvantage? Yes, cool.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
for
The 10
Jill.
was the disadvantage.
All right, so just Reznor. Awesome. All right. Reznor, you're the only one who will be making insight checks with disadvantage in this room. Cola, you got a 15. Jill, you got a 14. Zen, you got a 10, right? So all you get with a 10 is that you won't be making insight checks at disadvantage. Cola and Jillian, you're able to peer into this haze of cigar smoke and see the forms of about 6 gnomish figures in there. And you can tell very quickly, Coca-Cola, that these are all ancient gnomish women. Like, if one of them doesn't drop dead while you're talking to them, you'll be shocked.
Lovely.
But you see these 6 gnomish women just sitting sort of in a U shape in front of a fireplace, all with cigars clutched in their hands.
So you wanted to talk to us, sweethearts? Do a little business?
Yeah. I'm Coca-Cola Iron Gut, and these are my friends Jillian, Reznor, and Zenlin. We're looking to buy the old Cornerstone Tower there in town, but it's going to need some renovations and repair work, and we were suggested to speak to you because you do excellent work.
Well, whoever suggested that to you was right on. We do excellent work. Repairs on Cornerstone. We've been lobbying for that contract to happen for near 500 years now. It's good to finally get it. You're doing us a service by bringing this to us. And in exchange, we'll do you a service by giving you fair and competitive pricing.
Fair and competitive.
Can Zenlin insight that?
Sure.
Yeah. I only got a 9 insight. Good job, Zen.
Natural 20 for 21.
Reznor's
Natural
coughing.
20. Natural 20. This lady's playing it really cool. She's really excited about getting this contract and has meant every word she said. She's just trying to hide a lot of that excitement.
Okay.
You didn't get a ton on that because a nat 20 plus 1
Yep. You're good.
does beat a 19 plus 2, but only barely. But yeah, she's playing it real cool, but she wants this job, and you can see a hunger in her eyes for it.
We're not quite sure the extent of the work that'll need done, but I'm sure it's quite a bit. We're meant to do a walk around and look at it before we officially buy it, but we do know that we are going to buy it, I think, regardless. So,
Well, if you'd like, Rockborough's built that tower hundreds of years ago. We've got the
oh,
original plans. We can tell you how much it would take to just, knock it down and rebuild it, and then knock your material costs off for what you've already got there.
well, I don't
Give
know
you a
if
fair, decent price.
I mean,
Yeah.
is that what you would recommend doing?
Well, no. I'm not saying we knock it down and rebuild it. What I'm saying is I could figure out how much it would cost to do that, and then figure out about what the value of the materials you have on hand is. And then we could do a little math. We've been doing this forever. We got our ways of figuring out how much it's going to cost us to do the work so that we can charge you a fair and competitive price.
right,
On that
right.
nat 20, the lingering effect you get is that someone told this woman, I'm going to offer you a fair and competitive price once, and it sold her so hard that she's been using it ever since.
Yeah.
You see one of
Right.
the other ladies speaks up. Now, Fauna, I know that tower's your pet project, but should we really be giving them a fair and competitive price? Shouldn't we just do one or the other?
I mean, you don't really have any competition. You're the only ones we're interested in having do this job. So you don't have to really worry about that part. But a fair price would be extremely acceptable.
You see they all sort of lean in towards each other, cigars still in hand. Every 5 seconds, you're getting another blast of smoke in your face, and they start muttering. All right. And they all break up. We can do that. Give you a fair price, but not a competitive one. Deal?
Sure. What's the price going to be?
Oh, and they lean in again, start all muttering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. High or low?
Well,
I'll give you a little context. None of them rolled above a 4 on their intelligence check to price this. Because you're the players, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a range of 15 numbers on this die where you get an extraordinarily low price because they did bad math. 5 numbers and you're going to get a very high price.
let's go with low.
All right. So you want this to be a 1 through 15? 1 through 15, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
13. All right. We'll do it for 5 platinum.
Oh, 5 platinum? That sounds great. That's perfect.
All right. And, well, let me check. You're just looking for structural restoration, right? You don't want us to fill the place back up with all the doodads and stuff?
No, we don't need you to do any of that. We just need exterior structural repairs, and we will be in the future adding on to it, but we're not quite at that point yet. So this will come with a future contract should you perform your duties above and beyond what our standards are.
If you're willing to spit and shake on it, we'll give you a 1 platinum discount as long as we get the future contract.
Never met an iron gut who didn't keep her word.
You spit and shake with the eldest of these 6 comes forward, and you see she's
she looks like she's literally shrunken with age. Most gnomes are small. She is tiny at best, maybe a foot tall. And she reaches her hand up towards you after working her dry ass throat to spit. It's just sort of a mist of spit that eventually comes out on her hand, not a loogie, and she shakes. Your hand is, for as much work as that took her, uncomfortably wet and a little slimy.
Yeah. Gross. I'm imagining smoker's cough sort of thing I'm getting here.
Yeah, no, very, 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 very correct. And you see,
I'm just gonna.
You actually see as your hands touch, a little flash of silver light fills her cigar smoke as she breathes out.
The deal's sealed then.
Yeah, probably a mark of scribe little person here with
Give me an arcana check.
Yeah, I'm not very good at those, but sure. Let's do it.
I'll say if you're just trying to figure out if this is a mark of scribe effect, you can take it at advantage. If you're trying to figure out what it is, it's going to be just a regular check.
No, I was just thinking she reminded me of House of Scribe person. 16 at advantage.
Definitely not a House of Scribing effect. You've
Okay.
seen them. I mean, you saw a member of a person with the mark of scribing make a contract at the beginning of this adventure. This is not how it works.
Boar. He's a House of Scribe.
Yes, he is a mark of scribing gnome.
Mark of scribing, that's right. It just reminded me, like the little flash reminded me of their ability to do contracts and such.
Oh,
So that's what
I'll also tell you on a 16 Arcana. You think a contract has been sealed here? You just
magically
don't think
binding.
Yeah.
So what happens when you shake hands with Fey folk?
Yep.
All right, perfect. That's fantastic. Hey, why we got you here?
Little gnomes making deals.
Somebody had said that when the new mayor came, that you guys didn't want to. You moved up and out of Revan. Why for? How come?
Well, we don't have a deal with him.
I mean, that's fair, but couldn't you have gotten a deal with him the same way you had with like the previous mayors, like when the Iron Guts were mayors?
He hasn't asked.
That's fair.
Have
I was
you?
wondering.
Well, no. We have not. That's not our way.
So there wasn't like no bad blood or nothing. They didn't ask you to make any deals, so you just decided to move out?
Iron Guts made a deal 600-700 years ago. Stonefoot's made a deal about 200 before that. They were in charge for 800 years between the two of them. You know? No reason to leave.
That's fair. And you said you have the plans, the original plans from the tower?
Oh, yeah. It used to be gnomish. Yeah.
And you see the eldest again steps forward, and she's been moving around without a cane this whole time, just fine, or as fine as an elderly lady can. But she reaches down next to her, picks up her cane, and smacks Farna across the head at the telling you the tower used to be gnomish, and deals a not insignificant amount of damage as you see Farna fall prone.
Oh.
And start bleeding from the side of her head.
Oh, I didn't know that asking questions about the tower was going to cause internal conflict. Me scoozy. But
You're fine, dear. Some people just don't know when to shut their mouths.
well,
And
it's
you see two of the other women pick Farna up and set her in her chair, start tending to her medically, get her like some bandages for her head. One of them throws a cure wounds into her.
well, I was asking about it because I was interested in buying the blueprints off of you when you finish the job. Kind of like a history piece, like to hang it inside.
You want to buy the original blueprints when the job's done?
Yeah.
All right. Historical piece. We'll bring that back up to the 5 platinum for that. We'll charge a platinum for it.
That's fine.
Surely you'd be willing to just throw that in. After all, we're giving you a contract and paying you to restore your family's reputation. I mean, it's a Rockborough building, and currently it's falling apart.
Like she said, that's Fauna's obsession, not mine.
You can make an insight on that.
Sure, why not?
Cola, what's that persuasion on?
Because I kind of agree with Zenlin here. Like, hey, Zen's right. We are offering future business and such.
Just trying to get her to toss it in.
Yeah.
She looks at you.
All right, yeah, we'll toss the blueprints in. When the tower's done being built, you get the blueprints. Deal?
Yeah, that'd be all right. It's just,
All right.
I think it's like historically significant. I mean, I understand your sister is really interested in the tower, which that's cool.
Sister?
Our
Sister?
family member, cousin, whoever.
That's my great-granddaughter.
Oh, well.
What a compliment! Do you hear that, Fauna? She thinks I'm young enough to be your sister.
That's what
Yes.
That's what that 29 is.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You're good people. You know what, Fauna? Tell her the history. You can tell her. I'm sorry I smacked you. You must have realized before I did.
And Farna looks up at her. Why don't you tell her, Grandma? You were there. Or slipped into my default voice.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the history. Like, it'd be pretty cool because I know dwarves were there. There were dwarves there afterwards. So it'd be interesting to know about the gnomes that inhabited the place beforehand.
Yeah, well, we were there at the same time as the dwarves, We were up, they were down. Because, us gnomes, we don't like to go too far below the surface. We like to kind of spread out more, just under the crust. But, man, those dwarves dug deep. Deeper than they should have, really. They dug something up. I don't know all the details, but I was lucky. I was traveling, and I came back home, and all that was left was that damn tower. This whole mountain used to be covered in our warrens, Whatever them dwarves dug up, ripped them all away. The whole top layer of the mountain.
The whole top layer of the mountain?
Yeah.
So Revan used to look different than it does now, than the terrain.
It's grown back pretty close. The river's a little deeper than it used to be, actually. I think maybe something with the earth lower down, the water was able to cut through it a little more significantly. It might be on a fault line or something like that. Who knows? They wouldn't give us the wouldn't give us the contract to survey the town for it. So, and we haven't had a real, seismomancer in the family since I was a baby. So no way to really check without it being a contract.
Zen, you're making a quizzical face. Do you have something to add?
Has Zen heard of anything that could tear the top layers of mountains off?
Give me what? Tell me what you're using to think about this, and you tell me what check you think this is.
I mean, he's definitely using his brains. They mentioned digging deep, so I would probably Arcana just because that's his specialty. But otherwise, it would probably be some kind of nature or something.
Cool. Yeah, give me an Arcana check.
17.
17. With mention of digging too deep and the amount of power that was released, there are all sorts of strange spirits and magical sources within Kyber that, if misused, you've heard can have explosive results. Though in this case, it sounds like the way she's describing it, it doesn't sound like the mountain blew up. It sounds like the entire, basically the surface layer down to below the gnome's burrows was just vanished, gone. End of story. It disappeared. There was no wreckage or anything left behind.
Yeah.
And as she goes on to describe it more, you get more of a picture of less of it. It looked like to her the entire top layer had been scooped away, excavated almost, and then smoothed out afterwards. And she's describing this as lines up with her specialty. She's at her core, she's a construction worker.
Right.
Interesting. I really do enjoy learning the history of this area because, I mean, my family's here and been here for a long time, but, I'm a very young dwarf, so I don't know a lot of things. I hear dwarven history and iron gut history and a lot about the meadery, but it's cool to hear another perspective, like to hear the gnomish side of things. I never knew that the gnomes occupied the tower before the dwarves did.
Yeah, well, you see, common misconception. The dwarves never really occupied the tower. They used the tower to move between the surface and their cities. It was sort of our point of contact,
Oh, so kind of like
If they were down
like
if they were down in Wyvernstead, that's where the dwarves lived. If they were coming up to Revan, where we lived, they came through the tower. So we kept it pretty well stocked. We had one of their altars in there, and they didn't want a dwarf not of the true faith to get through, so you have to bleed at the altar to get down, you see.
That's really interesting.
Now that I think about it, I really should have just let Fauna tell you all this anyway. You're buying the tower. You're a dwarf of the blood. You're a stone girl, yeah. Not one of them fucking sovereigns or something like that.
I'll just kind of give Jillian an I'm sorry about your religion friend look. And no, I am a stone girl, but you said a city, that's the second time I've heard of this city recently, Wyvernstead, but not many people talk about it. Do you think
Wyvernstead?
Yeah, that's it.
Wyvernstead was the city below Revan.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I never knew that before, and I'm a whole dwarf.
Well, I guess there weren't really too much of you left.
Yeah. Hey, that's an
Wait,
interesting
you said
name.
you go for it. What were you going to say, sweetheart?
Wyvernstead is an interesting name, and it's kind of like pointedly interesting when Revan is consistently attacked by actual wyverns. You seem to be well versed in history. Like, do you think there's some sort of connection between the two?
Well, there's always been wyverns in these mountains. We used to keep them in, well, not we, you, well, not you, your ancestors. Maybe your your Iron Gut, your ancestors back in my day, used to keep wyverns. And of course, it was real easy to keep them corralled when you're underground because they can't exactly fly away, can they?
No,
So
they
you
really.
take them, you tame them up, you train them, and you get them to obey you. Then you take them outside and let them learn how to fly.
You said they used to keep them in the city down there.
Yeah,
That's
they were like pets. You couldn't walk 5 feet without getting ran into by a wyvern.
Huh. So they were formerly domesticated.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Interesting. Curiouser and curiouser. I'm really glad that we got a chance to talk to you today.
Yeah, well, this was like, what, 1,000 years ago? Yeah. Yeah, 1,000 years ago was when your ancestors were keeping the wyverns down there.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
then,
been a long time. Yeah.
and then, the cataclysm and all that. So, well, the first cataclysm, since they have a new one now. And you see she just sort of degrades into old lady rambling about how all of her memories are like, oh, nobody remembers my cataclysm. Everyone's worried about the big country that disappeared.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about this, and I am taking notes in my little pencil pocket protector notebook. Because it's very interesting to me, because I believe the journal that we found was written not only in Dwarven but also in Gnomish. The one
Yes,
book,
it was.
hmm which I can read both.
Yeah, it's
But
written. And I'll actually say, Cola, you realize as you're reading it that the sort of pigeon language of Gnomish and Dwarvish that you're reading, very similar to the pigeon, not identical, but very similar to the pigeon that you picked up at the docks.
yeah, so like
Seems,
like
it seems
a
like it's just kind of the
cool,
natural. Seems like it's just kind of a natural development of dwarves and gnomes living together in a enclosed community for so long.
yeah, so it's like
Especially with the
Creole
shared,
French, right?
yeah,
Like kind of Cajun Creole style.
yeah, especially with the shared alphabet.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. That's some
So
pretty
yeah,
good, interesting history about the area, right, Zen? That fits in with some
Yeah.
questions.
You mentioned, and I'm sure Coca-Cola knows what you mean by an altar and all that, but you mentioned a dwarf of true blood has to bleed to get in. What do you mean?
well, it doesn't have to be a dwarf of true blood. It has to be like a dwarf has to bleed to gain access through the tower to below.
Okay, is that common knowledge? Like, is that something everyone in Revan knows about the tower?
No, it's something that any dwarf who worships the spirit of stone should know about their altars. That your blood creates an opening. Usually, it's more. Well, I completely dropped the voice there. My bad. Usually, it's more spiritual than anything else. But in this case, it's a little more literal.
Good to
Interesting.
know.
Okay.
You
So
make an offering, and there is an opening of the gate. Kind of like
Certainly.
how you know, some humans like will burn their food to get into heaven. Now,
Yeah,
for a dwarf, you bleed enough in the right ways, and you get welcomed back to the stone.
yeah, yep.
Makes sense. I was just curious, like we said, someone's supposed to show us through the tower. I was wondering if that person would likely know or not about this entrance and this history, or if this is more, you guys know this, but not many other
This
people.
Well, hey, you know
I'll
what?
tell you what.
And you see, actually, as she's speaking about all of this, the other 5 are staring at her like they're learning a ton right now too. Actually, all of you see
Speaking
that,
of-
except Reznor, who's blinded by the smoke.
the guy who's supposed to take us through, we've never met him, but you seem pretty well versed in the history. His name is Fetherick Stonefoot. Do you know him?
Oh yeah, there's a reason that. So the Stonefoots used to be pretty big around here, but there was a couple of family tragedies, I guess you'd call them, and they kind of they came down to just 2 parents and a kid left, and then the kid got it, and
Well,
the folks went and they adopted, but who's gonna vote for that kid, really? The adopted orc. He's not even a real Stonefoot. But yeah, he might know how to get through,
Well, yeah, he seems to. The
But he
mayor
wouldn't-
seems to trust him.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be
Well,
able to, from what you've said.
Well, I mean, if he had, the blood doesn't have to be given willingly. It's just blood. We're good magicians. We're not that good. That's a very customized spell that we got on that altar.
So as long as it's dwarven blood, the door can be opened.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Back in the day when there was a whole town of gnomes around the door for you to get to it, a little harder.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you put any kind of other magic on the tower?
The dwarves did something towards the end there that protected it from something, but I don't know all the details. They did their bits, we did our bits, and we just made sure that they wouldn't mess with each other.
I mean, that's fair. I was just curious because it's really interesting learning the history of Revens farther back than what most people know. I mean, I didn't know a lot about the fort, so I'm happy to be learning about it. The cornerstone, all of that.
Yeah. And she actually, you mentioned the journal to her a little bit earlier, correct? That wasn't just me hearing things.
No, I didn't mention it to her.
found
I
it,
above
or
the
you just
table
were-
mentioned
you were
it
just
to you.
asking me. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
No, I didn't mention because nobody knows we've gone inside, so I don't want them to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I'm always happy to talk history with you. You seem like a good kid. You do the earn good well.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I hope to make my grandfather proud. My grandmother, she's not around anymore. She's off living the high life somewhere, not here.
Your grandmother, that's Elvania?
No.
No, nope.
No. Nope.
No.
Nope.
Give me a history check again.
I don't know. I don't think I ever named her.
Family history.
All right. I'm moderately historical here. I got a 19.
Elvanir's your great 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 grandmother.
Yeah. So
long dead. This is just an old lady who doesn't get out much.
yeah. No. That's not her. Yes and no, but that's not the one.
Oh, okay. Did your grandfather remarry?
No.
Spicy.
No, he's just by himself. He's
Oh,
just by himself. Well, we're
You
there.
hear
We're staying out there now. My
you,
friends and I are there.
you hear Farna speak up. Is your grandfather looking to remarry?
I don't think so. I think he's just content to live out the rest of his days, kind of relaxing. The last few years of him and my grandmother being together were a little chaotic amongst each other, so I think he's enjoying the peace and quiet and no wifely nagging. You know?
hey, fair enough, fair enough. I was never happier than the day my husband died. Well, the day my second husband died. I was pretty sad when the third one passed.
Oh God, it makes me think they're mafia even more now.
They are.
Definitely are. Well, we've taken up enough of your time, and we appreciate you. We haven't had the meeting and the walkthrough to do the official purchase yet, so either we can come in person or I can send a messenger out to let you know, whichever you prefer. I don't mind either way.
Oh, you
Uh,
have to come back, dearie. We
Sure.
we didn't even get a chance to smoke a cigar with you.
Well, next time, and I'll bring some mead with us next time we come out. My grandfather, he does the private reserve, so I'll bring the good stuff, and we'll.
Oh, some of the good old Erngard mead.
Yep.
How nice.
And this is the eldest speaking again.
I haven't had Erngard in probably since the Tower Blue.
That's a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
well,
we've got some next time when we come out to let you know. We'll bring it, have a celebration, and talk more history, and get
Yeah.
prepared for the build and the reconstruction and such.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you then. And hey, if you're bringing the Erngard, I want the stuff in the purple bottle.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. Purple bottle.
Go ahead and give me a perception check, Coca-Cola.
At advantage or flat?
Just flat.
Perception.
This is auditory perception, not
26.
26. You catch just at the end here. She's not saying iron gut about the meat. She is saying earn guard.
Yeah, which sounds like an older, because she keeps referring far back from history, like an old thing maybe it used to be called, right?
Yeah. And she's made reference to it being over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. So
I'm going to say give me a history check at advantage. Because there's a good chance Coca-Cola would catch this in character. I'm not sure if it's something you would catch out of character. DC 10.
14.
All right, 14 beats a 10. When you talk to your grandfather, he said that your family's only been here for 700-800 years. She's making references to something from a millennium ago.
Okay.
But she closes the door behind you as you head out, as you catch that. And you hear those 30 locks very quickly being redone.
Yeah. And so I'll head out with my friends and thank the lady of the house for letting us in.
Jacinda is not there, actually. You have to try to find your own way back out.
Oh, lovely.
So just Reznor is able to lead you perfectly.
Oh, yep. All right. Good job, Rez.
He's already traveled this geography and he knows where he's going.
Once we're a healthy way away, Zen is gonna just kind of note a couple of things he picked up on just to make it clear that in theory
So,
it seems like the mayor.
Hey.
Oh, go ahead.
1 second. Just before we start doing that, I do want to check in with you guys and see where you're heading from the Rockboroughs as you leave, so we can get you started on going there.
What time is it?
No later. Reznor got you here in an hour. I'm going to say that didn't take very long. Like 2 in the afternoon.
2 in the afternoon. Okay. So we have to be back by 8. So I think we did want to go by Fethrick's house because we want to ask him to come into town so we didn't have to wait till Monday.
To see if he's at his house or if he's up in the
Yeah.
mountains or wherever he be.
Up at the camp or wherever he's supposedly staying.
All right.
All I know is it's outside of town. I don't know if we're even in a similar direction or not.
You think? Give me just a survival check, Reznor. I'm gonna say because you have the best survival. You were told that he's just to the south of town, like to the south of the borders of the main town. Basically, he's just off your map in a little cabin.
Okay.
That's a 17.
All right, 17. You think that with these deer tracks and paths you found, you think you could find one of these that would loop around to about where his cabin is? And you'd guess there's probably footpaths near his cabin heading into the forest from his own hunting that you could pick up on as you get closer. So you do think you could get there a little faster than going back to town and then back to his house.
I can get us there.
Yeah, so that's the way we would head, right? Because that's our plans of the day is meet with the Rockboroughs, get that together, meet with the hunter, get him to come into town early so we could just go ahead and get the walkthrough done and do the purchase and get it done and over with.
Yep. Cool. So you head through the woods over to Fethrick Stonefoot's cabin.
Yes, but conversation on the way, Zen. You had something to say.
It's unlikely the mayor knows about the way down or what the tower is connected to, based off that info. Fethrick might know if his adoptive parents told him, but he himself cannot get down unless he's bleeding dwarves somewhere, and I feel like we would have heard if dwarves were going missing. Those tunnels probably lead to an ancient dwarven city, which may be quite profitable. I think those are the big ones, at least since we're going to Fethrick, was that we should avoid mentioning that for sure, because it seems like he may not even be aware of it.
Yeah, that's fine with me. He might even be a dope ass guy, and he might end up being somebody that works at the company when we leave at the tower, especially with the wyverns being around. I mean, that might end up how that is. So we'll find out, you know. But I don't plan on bringing up several pieces of information to him, just because if we did, then once we get in the tower, it would be known that we were in there, because how else would we know those things, right? So
yeah, I just figured like those are things they mentioned that we in theory could still bring up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jacinda, not Jacinda. I don't remember ancient grandma's name.
Malfuna.
Yeah, like she told us some things, but yeah, I think based on what they said, it's unlikely that he knows about this explicitly.
And that's fine. Really, the only thing I plan on saying to him, or we plan on saying to him, is just like, hey, we're planning on buying this building. The mayor would like a walkthrough just so we could, you know, see it, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And you're a trusted source. Would you mind coming into town now to do it instead of Monday?
Yeah. I guess I didn't know because I knew we were kind of suspicious of him for the wyvern payments and things like that. So I didn't know how much we were going to grill.
Yeah, I feel like knowing he's an orc and going out to his house is going to give Resnor's nose, the ability to sniff out some things, and we might in conversation be able to pick up on it. General vibe checks and such.
Yeah.
I think we'll figure it out without too hardcore grilling him.
All right.
I will be RB.
All right. We will see you in a second.
You can do the thing at Featherix without me. That's fine. I mean,
Okay, cool.
we're just asking him to come into town. So
All right, cool. So you loop your way around to Featherick Stonefoot's cabin in the woods. As you approach, you see a simple one-room cabin. It's got a little wooden porch with some nice little pillared slats that look like they were hand carved out to act as like a little fence around the porch. And you hear rather, the sound of an axe splitting wood around the back of the house as you approach.
Jillian, do you want to do the honors again? I don't want to just walk onto this guy's property.
Yeah, Jillian will cast Thaumaturgy and she'll say, hello!
You hear a call back, almost as loud, but unenhanced by magic. Hello!
Is this
Can I help
Featherwick's
you?
house?
Come around. Yes, this is Featherix. Come around back and we can talk.
Cool.
Okay.
We'll do that.
All right. You make your way around the back, and before you see a orcish man, very tall, about a good 6 inches on Resnor. Oh goodness, what is that? About 6 inches taller than Resnor. He's got a longbow and a heavy crossbow, both slung across his back, sort of overlapping, and then a pair of short swords strapped to his sides. Is wearing leathers. Hi, you're looking for me, Featherick?
Yes, you see, this is Coca-Cola Iron Gut, and we're representatives of her and a venture we're interested in. The mayor was going to send word, but we were potentially interested in buying Cornerstone Keep Tower, and we're told you could do a walkthrough with us, to make sure so we know what we're getting into before we purchase it.
I named it Cornerstone Tower, and Cornerstone Keep was right there the whole time for the alliteration.
It used to be a keep. Now it's a tower.
That's right. That's right. All right. Anyway, not important. Well, yes, I'd be happy to take a look over it for you. I've got nothing today. If you're willing to help me finish up splitting this wood for the fireplace.
I may not be able to, but Resnor
will help.
All right, Resnor. It looks like he's got about 3 hours worth of wood to split for one person on their own, so about an hour and a half with the two of you working. If you succeed on a DC 10 athletics check, every 5 above a 10, I'm going to let you knock another 15 minutes off of this time.
Oh, good. Athletics. 14.
All right, cool. Yeah. So after about an hour and a half, you're able to chop through all this wood. If anyone else wants to help, the reduction will continue fractionally, I guess. Every DC 10 adds another split to it.
Okay.
Failure does not degrade. Failure does not have any issue other than making you look like a little wimp. Yo!
It
Zenlin,
doesn't make a
forget the -2 on a nat 20. We're gonna give you a 20 athletics check.
Zenlin knows his way around an axe, apparently.
Zen, you pick up an axe. You see Reznor starts at first, and he's just going like normal Reznor speed. It's good chopping. He's matching Feathrick's pace. Cocola's doing the same. Jillian grabs an axe, and she normally uses a mace. She's not used to using something with a blade. Chops down. You're just kind of hitting it with not on the edge of the blade half the time. And then Zen, you reach over, pick up an axe, close your hands around it, look down. You're like, I was meant to be a soldier. I was meant to be a soldier. I can swing an axe. You swing this axe and you cleave right through the log on your first try, and you keep doing it.
Zenlin's secretly
Over
just
and
doing
over
geometry and
over
finding the
and
weak
over.
point.
And then as you finish chopping the wood, you realize you've picked up Reznor's magical battle axe and been using it to chop wood.
Reznor thumbs up.
But with Coca-Cola, let's see, we have 3 10s and a 20, so that's minus half an hour. It takes like an hour all told. Or no, it takes 3 hours divided by 3. It takes 2 hours all told. I'm still not mathing right.
I was gonna say, I thought Reznor helping
It
alone
takes-
brought it down to an
No,
hour.
you're right. You're right. Reznor, 2 people brought it down to an hour and a half. 4 people brings it down to 45 minutes, and then you knock an extra half hour off there. With all 5 of you working on it together, Zen knocks it down to a 15-minute job by looking around and grabbing the magical axe.
A tear comes to Reznor's eye as he sees his buddy doing it.
Right at the end, the last swipe, Zen lines up a bunch of them to be slashed through with the axe instead of having it brought down above them, and just slashes through a clean line of like 3 logs in a row. Zen, you feel so strong.
He'll die tonight from it, don't worry.
All right. But Feathrick says, yeah. Dust his hands off. Did you want to come with me for the walkthrough? I'm just going to go take care of it now.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point, because the mayor said if we wanted to walk through, we had to have somebody with us because, to make sure there's no defacing done or devaluing the property and such.
Okay. Just checking, because last time I did a property walkthrough, they didn't want to do it with me. They just let me go through and check everything first.
Yeah, it's okay. We don't mind. We'd like to
Wonderful.
look at it and go buy it.
All right. So he takes you up into town. He's only like 10 minutes out of town. So you make your way over to Cornerstone Tower, approach it. He pats down his pockets, pulls out a ring of keys. All right, I know it's one of these. You see there's about 13 keys on this ring. Oh, this one. And he unlocks the front door. All of you step in. And you see a dilapidated, empty tower. That covering of dust is still here, but the candles aren't lit. The wall is still crumbled on the second floor there. Most of the furniture is still there, but it all appears to be in just slightly worse disrepair than it did when you saw it. It looks like it's been ravaged by time.
On the second floor, can Zenlin nonchalantly do an experiment? Can he cast dancing lights as if he's inspecting the hole, but he's looking to see if the light spills out through the hole?
It does.
Interesting.
But yeah, he takes you on a walk through the tower. Make a little investigation check for him here. La di da 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 da. All right. He looks through the tower. Sure you want to buy this old place? I mean, it's literally falling apart.
Well, you tell me, Frederick. Do you think it's worth 40 platinum pieces?
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really sure.
It's pretty beat up, isn't it?
It's pretty beat up, but again, not really sure. The value on buildings, not exactly my thing.
Yeah,
I
so
know the land my cabin's on was like a 5 platinum value when the mayor gave it to me.
interesting.
The previous mayor, of course, not Brightfoot.
And you built your cabin, that was just the land?
Yes. I built my cabin. Quite proud of it, in fact.
Yeah, it was a nice little cabin.
Came from nothing, went to obscenely rich, back to nothing, and now I've built something of my own. You know? It's quite the story if you ask me, but, no one wants to buy it.
What do you mean you went from nothing to obscenely rich to nothing again? What happened? Gambling problem or something?
No, I was a young orcish boy living in a nomadic tribe, orphaned, very rarely eating my fill, was suddenly adopted by a lovely pair of gnomes, and then they died, and since they were a noble family, and I was not of the blood, I did not qualify for inheritance.
Oh, that actually really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
Fortunately, my adoptive father gave me the land my cabin is on before he passed, and I've been able to make something of myself. And honestly, I'm happier making something of myself than I would be with hundreds and hundreds of platinum pieces. Though I do wish I could have inherited my parents' house. That would have been nice.
Do they live around here?
Oh yes, the Stonefoots.
Yeah, but I mean, like, where was their house is what I ask.
Oh, just across from City Hall.
Oh, who lives there now?
I believe it's sitting empty.
Oh.
Zen, you recognize the house across from City Hall was the house that you were offered as a potential base.
Was that was also 40 plat?
No, that one was like 60 because it was a fully furnished house.
The 40 platinum one you're talking about is the one that was the camp, the old trading post camp on the north side.
Okay.
Old fort on the north side.
Yeah, there you go.
It's been used as a trading post in recent times.
Well, I mean, don't be modest, Frederick. We know there's a wyvern problem in town. We were told you do pretty well for yourself dealing with them.
Thank you. I do quite well. Tricks of the trade,
Any tips for aspiring wyvern hunters?
Watch the tail, not the eyes.
Oh, wow, you were really playing it close to the chest. I kind of meant, this part of the mountains here.
Oh, wyverns roost all over the mountains. If there's a rocky outcropping, 1 in 3 chance there's a wyvern hiding there. It's just whether or not it's one brave enough to attack you. I really don't think people realize how big the wyvern problem is here. They didn't. Well, how interested are you in ecology?
I mean, it's not my forte, but any information is nice for, a couple of upstarts in town trying to make a name for themselves.
All right. Peek behind the screen. I just rolled a knowledge nature check for this guy. He's got expertise in nature and rolled a nat 20. So he is ready to info dump on you about wyverns to the extent that he thinks you will want to hear about it. Give me a persuasion check to try to convince him of how into this you are. This is going to be scaled DCs, so 10 gets you something, 15 gets you more, 20 gets you even more, so on and so forth.
I'm glad Coca-Cola also rolled.
A group check?
Yeah, Zen. No, just anybody who wanted to. But then you see on that nat 1, he looks at you as like, you say that bit about it's not my forte, and he turns his back to you to look at Coca-Cola. So wyverns, yeah, he's talking to the three of you, has just fully put his back to Zenlin. Like Zenlin is behind him. So wyverns, the main thing you need to remember about wyverns is that they are lizards, reptiles. Easily startled, and 90% of the time they'll flee. But if they see you as prey or a threat they cannot escape, they will attack you. So what I normally do, and you see he grabs his longbow off of his back, is if I see one flying, I draw this back and I shoot it right through the wing. Make it fall to the ground, and then I leap down off the mountain at it, so that I've got it pinned. And then, and he gestures to the short swords, these get used.
That's a real strategy you got there. Piss them off, jump on their back, and stab them.
Yes.
That's very Reznor-esque.
Works every time. Oh, you do the same, Reznor?
Pretty similar.
Ever fought a wyvern?
Yes.
Yes, you have canonically killed 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He is Reznor Wyvern Slayer.
Wait, has that actually become canon that he's done it now? I thought we were just making that up.
No, that was that's been canon since episode 1. Reznor killed a wyvern right before he met you.
Mm-hmm.
And then killed a second one while he was traveling up with you from Zendrick back to Sharn.
Oh, okay.
So you've seen Reznor kill 1 wyvern, and when you met him, he told you that he had killed wyverns. So, I mean, to Zen's knowledge, Reznor is the wyvern slayer. He showed up.
His WWE name.
Yeah, he showed up, told you one fun fact about himself. He said, yeah, I've killed wyverns. And then, like, as you're moving up the road, immediately a wyvern swoops down and Reznor ganks it.
Yep. Reznor, Wyvern, Greyback.
What Reznor and Zenlin didn't know is that the second wyvern that swooped down at Reznor was heavily injured from a fight and was trying to run away.
Yes.
Hey, Reznor slew the wyvern. I don't think anything else needs to be known about it.
Yeah. But yeah. Fetherick, however, wraps up his walkthrough of the tower. Anyone who wants to can make insight checks to see how he's feeling, what he's thinking, all that jazz. But he kind of claps his hands together, dusts them off. Well, all looks good there. I've taken inventory of what's in the tower. I'm assuming you're purchasing it fully furnished, or as is rather.
As is, yeah. If you wouldn't mind heading over to City Hall with us, so we can just get the keys and everything from you in exchange in the sale and whatnot.
Yeah, sounds
That
good.
would be awesome.
And he heads over to City Hall with you. You see, as you walk into City Hall, both incoming and receiving are sitting there, or both incoming and departing are sitting there.
Zen,
that
you
before,
can.
Nicola.
Yeah, no. Zen, where do we go?
Oh, yeah, this way. And I will lead them to the mayor's office that the mayor isn't at with the people.
Oh no, you've made it through town to City Hall, and you are seeing incoming and departing the two secretaries.
Oh. Hello again.
Oh, hello! Have you come back to continue working on your purchase of the estate?
Yeah, we came to finalize everything actually, and as you'll notice, the other gentleman that was kind of pushing you to do more than your job isn't with us, so we've talked to the mayor and Frederick showed us around, so I think we're good to go.
Oh, yes, Frederick, I just need you to sign an attestment here. You see Frederick picks up the quill and shockingly dexterously for a man with hands as large as him, signs his name in a nice little bit of calligraphy.
Well, he was educated by nobles, so that's not surprising as much.
Alright, my pay? He holds his hand out. One of them opens up a drawer, takes 5 gold pieces, puts it in his hand. Alright, well, here's the key. He pulls it off that ring, sets it down. Anything else you need me for?
That's the only key to the building you have?
That's the only key I have.
Okay.
I have one to each building the mayor's gotten holding for the city.
Does he also have a key?
Somewhere in this office, I'm sure. And you hear incoming speak up. We've got a whole ring of them here.
Okay,
And
perfect.
you see her pull one out. It also looks like it has about 13, 14 keys on there, just like a dozen or so. And she pulls the key off that, sets it down next to it. That's yours. As soon as you sign and pay.
Yeah, I just want to read the sales contract, all of that, and then I'll put it. If it asks like the purchasers or whatever, I'll put it as our LLC or our company name.
Yep.
I think we did some combination of letters.
Yeah,
X.
you did.
It's like XKJR shipping.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll put it.
So you're buying it for a company, all right? Well, in that case, we don't need this. And she crosses out a line that says next of kin, because it'll just revert to the company's holdings. Wonderful. And you read the sales contract over. It's fairly standard. Property is yours in perpetuity until you and all of your inheritors die, at which case it reverts to the kingdom or to the nation.
Yada yada.
Yeah, yada yada. I'm not going into realty legalese.
That's fine.
Sorry if that's your thing, viewers, but I don't know it and I'm not going to learn it.
So that's 40 platinum, right?
Yep.
Okay.
By the way, since we're exchanging money here, and Zen will give Coca-Cola 20 gold back because those books were way cheaper than he expected.
Cool.
Okay, I'll add that back. Perfect. All right, great. We also, does the city require us to have any building permits while we do repairs? Because if so, we need to just pull those permits now.
So those permits are actually pre-filed for the tower. We just haven't found the funding to, allow it. So since you'll be funding itself, we'll just take these, and you see she pulls out a sheaf of papers, add this, crosses out the town of Revan line, inserts your company name, sign here, initial here, so on and so forth. Walks you through all the legalese, and you are fully permitted to own, reside in, and rebuild Cornerstone Tower.
Yeah. So I'll sign it, and you'll see Coca-Cola has a traveling little wax seal sort of thing, and you'll see her melt her wax and use her signet ring as her final signature when she finishes filling out the paperwork.
Okay. This isn't something Coca-Cola's hiding or anything?
Nope. She's Coca-Cola. I mean, Jillian would have seen her done such before. I believe that's what she did also, signing the paperwork to join the trading company in the beginning. So they would have all have seen the same thing.
Jillian, Reznor, and Zenlin, you can all make a history check for me. No advantage or anything, just straight.
$15 for Reznor.
15 buddies.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, Jill.
8 for Jillian.
8 for Jillian. All right, so on a 15 Zen and Reznor. Actually, I'm going to say on a 15 Reznor, you get this. You know that signing something with their signet ring implies that Coca-Cola is still acting as a member of House Kundarak. I'm also going to ask for an insight check from you on that. Zen, you're also going to make an insight check if you want to pre-roll it, and I'll give you the information you've got. Zen, you know that signing something in this way is marking it without affixing your name to it.
Mm-hmm.
And on that that's a nat 1 on that insight check, yeah?
I think it's a 3, because I have a +1.
Or is that a nat 2?
It's a natural 3. I have a +1 to insight.
Oh, okay. On a 4, you just don't really have any idea why Coca-Cola marks things with a signet ring other than maybe it's habit. Reznor, on a 13, you think maybe Coca-Cola has... Actually, Coca-Cola, give me a deception to oppose that, or persuasion, whichever you think is correct. And I'd like you to roll a physical dice if you have any ready, so that the party doesn't see which.
Oh, if you don't want me to roll the regular one, ignore that then. I got my
never mind.
physical.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. I could have rolled it just to DM. I should have done that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I got
You're
a
good.
15 anyway.
That's fine. 15.
Mhm.
The only thing you're able to see here, Reznor, is that maybe Coca-Cola's forgotten that she no longer acts as a representative of House Kundarak. Especially with getting that letter from her mom earlier today, she might just be slipping a little.
Happens to the best of us.
But you see incoming takes all your paperwork, looks it over, puts it in a manila folder, slides it down the table to departing, who pulls a wand out of a drawer, taps it, duplicates it, and hands you the original. Congratulations! You're homeowners! And that is where we're going to end this session.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.